Hi, my name is Yicheng Li. Thank you for inviting me to give this job talk. And I am a PhD candidate at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. My major is computer science, and my research focus on human-computer interaction, social computing, and human AI interaction. In my PhD journey, I tried different topics such as live streaming and crowdfunding, and also the EEG research. Today, I will only focus on my PhD dissertation research, which is the human AI design. I hope you enjoy my job talk. If you have any questions about my talk or my other research, please feel free to contact me. I will be happy to schedule time, have a discussion with you. So let's start. I'm going to present my PhD study, design conversational agents to promote self-disclosure and behavior change. Conversational agent or chatbot as an AI technology are increasing applied in many domains such as customer service and healthcare. Because chatbots provides a convenient and low-cost channels, both scholars and practitioners are developing effective chatbot to address the challenges in healthcare service, such as limitations of the human or doctor resources. My research is inspired by mental health counselors. I interviewed some licensed counselors and found that they have a lot of challenges, especially a counseling process takes time. The counselors have to build a trust with their clients to open their mind to self-disclosure their own problems, and it takes a month or even longer. Moreover, disclosing personal mental health issue is not easy for most of the people. And this is also one of the major practical difficulties in counseling session. In fact, there are some AI chatbots to help people deal with their mental crisis. But these apps usually directly jump to the treatment, which makes users less engaged in the conversation, and the users may not real disclosure themselves. So, in my research, I'm interested in users' self-disclosure behaviors, and I want to use chatbot to guide the users to do self-reflection and improve their mental well-being. According to the social penetration theory, self-disclosure usually moves from the shallow to deeper, and that the process may take some time to achieve. In addition, self-disclosure is reciprocal, which may encourage other persons in turn to disclose information of the same level, and then gradually going to deep self-disclosure. There are many studies have shown that chatbot can encourage human self-disclosure and getting better responses, but most of them focus on the breadth, but seldom focus on the depth of the self-disclosure. Some study found that chatbot with social dialogue could encourage users' self-disclosure and improve engagement, which means reciprocity effect may exist with the interaction between chatbot and human. The CASA paradigm indicate that people apply social norms and the expectation of human relationships when they're interacting with the computer agents. Thus, through a long-term interaction with a chatbot, we are interested in if human could follow build a relationship and increase depth of self-disclosure with a chatbot over time. Based on previous research findings, I think there are some research gaps which need to be addressed. First, it is understudied that how a chatbot could promote user self-disclosure over time. Many existing research focus on the one-shot experiment. However, chatbots could promote deep self-disclosure over time is underexplored. Finally, some studies use chatbots to deliver guidance, but there is lack of study to explore how a human support may affect users' perception and behaviors when integrating human supporters into a chatbot system. Therefore, in my dissertation, instead of designing a chatbot to replace human services, we are interested in exploring how to utilize benefit of chatbot and human resources and develop a chatbot that plays as a mediators between users and human supporters. To achieve this goal, I divide my research into three studies, and I want to use these figures to explain the scenarios. In the first study, I'm interested in how to design a chatbot to elicit users' deepest self-disclosure. As I mentioned above, in the healthcare application, it may require users to interact with the system over a long period of time. Thus, through a long-term interaction with the chatbot, we are interested in if human could follow build a relationship and self-disclosures deeply with the chatbot. For the second study, I aim to develop a chatbot that plays as a mediator between users and the human supporter. Thus, after collecting users' deeper self-disclosure, we are wondering if the chatbot could facilitate people's self-disclosure to a doctor or say human supporters. Finally, I studied the effect of integrating a human supporter into a chatbot intervention and explore users' experience and behavior change in order to integrate them in a way that makes best possible use of both resources. Okay, in the study one, we are interested in how to encourage users' deeper self-disclosure with the chatbot over time. Furthermore, in the study two, we explored how the user self-disclosure behavior will be affected when the human expert was introduced in the conversation, and if the user's trust in the chatbot affect their trust in the human expert. As I showed this scenario earlier, the chatbot interacted with the participant first and then gradually introduced the doctor. We want to explore if people's deep self-disclosure to a chatbot will be sustained when sharing with the doctor, and even develop a certain trust. Two main research questions are asked in the study one and the study two. First, trading styles means that different chatbot self-disclosure levels. I collect users' responses and interview them to understand the impact of the chatbot self-disclosure. So I conducted a 4-week study to explore how the time may influence user self-disclosure behaviors and the perceptions with the chatbot. This is the second research question. We investigated how the users would share their self-disclosure with the human expert through a chatbot. And we further explored the factors that affect users' sharing behavior. There are three conditions in the study. First, group one. The user chat with the chatbot which did not have self-disclosure. Group two, the user chat with the chatbot with a low self-disclosure. And group three, the user chat with the chatbot with high self-disclosure. I will give some example later to let you know what's the difference between the conversation. I want to explore if this different level of self-disclosures could elicit users' deeper self-disclosure and then the relationship with the chatbot. And I equally separate the participants into three groups and conduct a 4-week study. We use these two surveys to build up our chatbot system. ManyChat help manage the study and the chatbot conversation flow. And the Dialogflow is a Google's NLP service. It helps solve the NLP problem and deal with the exceptional questions from the participant. Our chatbot conversation starts from greeting. In the group one, there's no self-disclosure. The chatbot will jump to the sensitive questions, which is similar to the current healthcare chatbot design in the market. We modify this design by adding small talk before going to the sensitive questions, and we control chatbot self-disclosure levels to explore how it will affect users' self-disclosure. In addition, although the chatbot has different level of the self-disclosure, the group 2 and the group 3 participants will receive the same amount of the question. We collect all of these responses and analyze its self-disclosure level, but I will mainly present the results from the sensitive questions in this presentation. This is a true example of the chatbot self-disclosure. The question is about their favorite holiday. We manually generate responses and conducted pilot study to verify the level of the self-disclosure, and we follow this definition from previous study. These are the example for the sensitive questions And we borrowed these questions from some guidance books, and then these questions are used in the real counseling sessions. So the participants' responses will be recorded by the chatbot. Then in the study two, the chatbot will introduce the doctor to participants and suggest them to share their previous self-disclosure content with the doctor. And then the chatbots are also tell them the benefit of the sharing information with the doctor. Participants will be suggested to review their responses for the sensitive questions which asked in the past weeks. They will allow to edit their previous answers, and they can also decline to share their self-disclosure contents with the doctor. We followed previous work's definitions to define the self-disclosure level. Self-disclosure levels also is a main measurement across my research. In general, the use of self-disclosure can be categorized into three categories: informational, thoughts, and feelings. For each category, it was defined three different levels. This is an example of the thoughts category. Please pause this video if you are interested in reading these examples. Okay, this is what I found from the study. We found that HD users give longest responses than other two groups of the participants, which also has been proved as one of the indicators for self-disclosure. For the self-disclosure level, we found that HD and LD disclosure more feeling than ND. Based on the interview finding, we found that the reciprocity effect in HD groups, which means that when the chatbot discloses more, the user also discloses more deeply. And remind you, H means high self-disclosure, L means low self-disclosure, N means no self-disclosure. We found that only HD group's intimacy level increased over time. In addition, for the thoughts and the feeling levels of the self-disclosure, we found the interaction effect. And the general trend of the depth of the self-disclosure is as I showed in the second point. This finding means that HD users tend to disclose more feelings and thoughts as the time went by than the ND participant. This finding also supported by our interview results. HD members also perceived significant strong intimacy over time, which implies that high level of the chatbot self-disclosure could gradually increase users' intimacy. In summary, in the study one, chatbot self-disclosure influenced the depth of the user's self-disclosure in sensitive questions. By allowing chatbot self-disclosure, it may encourage people's reciprocal self-disclosure. This finding could contribute to the future research and application, which aims to help users deepen self-disclosure. So we are wondering if the users are willing to share this deep self-disclosure with their doctor through the chatbot. That is the goal for the second study. In addition, we found that many private studies mainly focus on the one-shot study to see how the chatbot influences user self-disclosure behavior. However, as we found in the study, time plays an important role in user self-disclosure with the chatbot. So the effect of time should be considered in the chatbot design. This is the result for study 2. We found that most of the responses were shared. Only about 8% of them did not share with the doctor, which means that chatbots can effectively mediate users' deeper self-disclosure to a mental health professional. However, we found that there are some users decide to add and delete their prior answers. So why users want to reduce their self-disclosure content? Those users tend to reduce all details, such as their thoughts and feelings, especially for the ND group. Users also did not like to share their thoughts which may relate it to others, such as their family and friends. However, some participants even add more information before sharing with the doctor. There are two main reasons why they add the information. So the first one, because they think adding this information can help doctor to make the right judgment. And the second thought is because they change their thoughts after reviewing those corrections. So they want to correct their answers. Allen showed participants reasons to share their self-disclosure content. I found that Group ND only see chatbot as a tool to collect data, and also their self-disclosure level is low than other two groups. Thus, they thought it is fine to share their information. However, for the LD and the HD, they see the benefits of chatting with the chatbot, which make them feel comfortable to share the information and maybe expect the feedback from the doctor. In addition, still some participants did not like to share their answers with the doctor. There are two main reasons. First, especially for the ND group, they did not trust in the doctor, which deterred their motivation to share. For LD and HD, they thought it is not necessary to share with the doctor because they don't see the immediate benefit of sharing the data with the doctor. From the interview, we can see the trust was one of the important factors mentioned by the participants. Thus, we present our survey's results of the participants' trust in the chatbot and in the doctor at the different stages. Based on these figures, we can find that sharing data with the doctor did not decrease users' trust in the chatbot. However, we can see that when evaluating users' trust in the doctor, HD's members has the highest level of the trust. The reason is as described. The high self-disclosure chatbot could be used to convince users to trust the third parties. The high self-disclosure chatbot designed to connect it to the participants with the doctor, which may have helped lower the barrier of the sharing the deeper self-disclosure. However, ethical issues may be raised here. This finding also implies that a potential risk for the users to overshare their private information with the chatbot. This may cause the users to disclose their vulnerabilities, which may be dangerous if they are abused. Leveraging the bond between the professional image and the chatbot needs follow studies. Over-addressing professional image may result in users overestimating the chatbot's proficiency. Finally, this is a limitation for this study. Although LD and HD members have a deeper self-disclosure and willing to share with the doctor, this also increased their expectation from getting feedback from the doctor. But we did not address this impact in this study. Therefore, in the next studies, I explore the effect of the integrating human supporter in the human chatbot interaction to give the guidance, influence users' behavior and experience. In this study, I integrate human support to give a guidance to users for learning journey skill. Since we have submitted the paper to client CSCW, if you are interested in the paper, please feel free to contact me. To recap, as you can see from this scenario, I aim to use the chatbot to help human supporter to deliver guidance to the users and explore its pros and cons. In this study, I went through the whole process, which means that the chatbot will build up the relationship with the users and then starting to deliver guidance to encourage users to learn new drawing skills. As I mentioned above, I'm not aiming to use the chatbot to replace human. We are interested in how to integrate the chatbot with human support. Prior research has proved that adding human support in the behavior interventions technologies could help improve users' adherence and efficacy with the system. But prior works mainly used the human supporters to help troubleshooting and checking users. So the effect of integrating human support in the interaction is still under study. There are three main research questions. The goal of my design is to understand whether integrating human expert in the loop of the interaction will affect the user's journaling practice by following the suggestion delivered through the chatbot system. I further explored how the designs will influence users' willingness to keep practicing those suggestions as a measure of the lasting effect of the design. So there is a suggestion section introduced. In the suggestion section, the chatbot will guide the users to learn journaling skills. I will give an example later, And there are two conditions. One is only chatbot, and another one is human plus chatbot. The study design follow previous studies' findings that the users may develop trust in the relationship over time. Thus, after they build a certain relationship, I'm wondering if this will affect users' self-disclosure behavior on following the guidance. In the warm-up phase, it's aiming to build a relationship between users and the chatbot. All participants receive the same questions and the prompts, and it also maybe help wear out the novelty effect. In the training phase, we add one section, suggestion section, to give user guidance to learn journaling skills. I will give an example in the next slide. For the HC group, the human support will only be introduced in this section, suggestion section. And the OC groups will receive the guidance from the chatbot. We have two conditions in the study. First, left side, chatbot only condition. The user will only see a chatbot and interact with it. Second, the right side, the chatbot with the human support. A human support will be introduced by the chatbot to give the guidance. But no matter the participant in the OC or HC group, they will receive the same guidance actually. This is one of the journaling skills that the chatbot given to the users. No matter they were in which group, they will receive the same instructions. And then the chatbot systems will prompt the users to follow each steps. Chatbots will encourage them to answer the questions in detail. So why I use journaling skill in this suggestion session? The reasons are, first, it's need the user's self-disclosure. Thus, when the disclosure deeper, which means they follow closer with the guidance. Second, journaling should not be a difficult task for most of the people. The questions always focus on the personal experience and the reflection. Finally, we left the 9 days for the participant to see if they are willing to voluntarily practice their journaling skills. So in the HC group, there was no human support in the practice session. All users were given option to skip this session. We used the pre and post survey to understand users' experience change. And we analyzed self-disclosure level in the suggestion section. This is our result. For the first research question, we found that the group with the human supporters will give longer and deeper self-disclosure of feeling and thoughts in the suggestion section. No within subject effect in both self-disclosure and the word count result. This figure shows the between subject analysis of the three constructs. It sees that HC groups has a higher engagement and trust. Based on the interview, we found that the human supporter can enhance users' trust in the chatbot. For the intimacy, there's a within subject effect for both groups. The user explained that is because the small talk can let them exchange more information with the chatbot. This also echo our prior research findings. However, some participants explained that why they have a lower engagement with the chatbot. First, a few participants feel annoyed when getting suggestions from chatbot. Second, in the H group, the participants also feel pressures from having a human supporter and even generating negative feelings when they could not follow the guidance well. For the third research question, interestingly, in the free will phase, we found that although HC participant has higher engagement and self-disclosure in the training phase, but they practice less than the OC group. From the interview, we found there are two main reasons. One is high pressure, another one is high expectation for the human supporter. So the human supporter did not give them personalized responses. As I say, the instructions are the same. So when there was no human support involved in the free will phase, they feel relief, and then the user stop to practice those skills. In summary, we found that integrating human support in the human chatbot interaction affect users' experience and their willingness to follow the instruction, but also cause the high pressure. We gave the coach image for the human supporter in this study, which may be the reasons to make the participants feel pressure to follow the instructions. it is worth to explore the effect of identity in the future work. Moreover, the board's design has its pros and cons for deliver guidance. But only using the chatbot to give a guidance may also cause some negative effect, as we showed in the result. So future designs could also consider integrating multiple chatbots to serve different features. Here, I summarize the contribution of my dissertation research. My work contributes to the understanding of how human self-disclosure and the develop relationship with a conversational agent over time. This work further explored if a chatbot could be a mediator to help transfer this information and the relationship to a professional third party. This work is among the first that investigating the effect of integrating human experts to deliver guidance for practicing journaling skill. My work also presented empirical evidence of using chatbot to practice journaling and improving human mental well-being. So my work can provide design implications for applying chatbots in the healthcare domain and to support diverse training process. Based on my research findings regarding human to chatbot self-disclosure and the long-term social dynamics, I found that the users may gradually develop relationship and the trust with the computer agent. I have been reflecting on how the future AI assistant should evolve next. I'm especially interested in exploring how AI technology can properly be incorporated into a healthcare ecosystem. It can be used to encourage a healthy lifestyle and help healthcare providers to better understand their client to offer good treatment and guidance. It can be provide the guidance to assist humans decision making to find a better way for people and the AI agent to work together. However, as I presented earlier, users may overtrust their computer agent and overshare their private information with it. So some participants even expect that the chatbot itself could provide them a better guidance than the human expert. There's user safety and the AI's transparency and ethics need to be defined, especially when incorporating AI technologies into a healthcare system. I would like to focus on these crucial topics in the future. So finally, thank you for your listening. I hope you enjoy my job talk. Please feel free to contact me if you need more information or if you have any question.